towards Richie's for the first time. So, quick update on the weather there. We can see the dark clouds in the distance. We are 5 to 5, so hopefully we're going to slow down a little bit and we're going to get most of this meeting away without any great hassle. But unfortunately, we still have another 4 races after this one, and as ever, the clock ticks away very quickly indeed. So, fingers crossed we can get the program off as the MZs get underway. And once again, it's Alex Mann who leads Pete Woodall, and is that John Ashmead? Chris Kent can't quite see them. There's a blur of darkened, well-battered leathers with these guys as they go through Richie's for the first time, as the leaders in the Ninjas make their way to Agostini's for their first time of 5 out of Agostini's we go. And well, I'm going to say it's a rookie vest of Hudson Cooper in front, but there's rookie vests everywhere. That's Lewis in third, is it? Is that the coloured scheme? I can't.
Yes.
Your eyesight's better than mine, mate.
Yeah, that's Lewis Jones up in the third place ahead of Travis Rooker, but the young man in second position is that one from Beverley. That's Arnie Carr.
The impressive Arnie Carr. Yeah, we need to catch up with Arnie at some point. Say hello to him. He's been on the podium first or second in every single race he's ever competed in so far in his very young life. So very impressive stuff indeed from him. And yeah, it's hard to bet against him, I think, is the phrase you need to use there. Right, MZs, well, that's Alexander Mann who's leading away from Pete Woodall there very comfortably already. That's going to be a gap of around about a second or so as they negotiate the apex. Oh, it could be a couple of seconds nearly, I think. And he's certainly broken the toe. That's the critical thing. Pete Woodall's also broken the toe to the gang behind him, but that's a 4-way battle. And then another little bit of a break before we have a good 3-way battle. So there's a few little scraps all the way down through the field as the British sidecars make their way up to the scrutineering bay, I think, for a quick once-over. All good. As the leaders in the Ninjas now make their way into...
Is really over previous seasons, isn't it? Because at the moment, it is the 217 of Hudson Cooper who leads the way, but Lewis Jones, Arnie Carr and Travis Rooker are going with him. The top 4 separated by less than a second. 5th place is Ruben Bray, who's made a much more legal start than the one earlier on. Archie Ormrod ahead of Harry Rafferty, who has dropped 1 position, but is still 6th in class. And then it's Baker, Stone, Garrett, Carter, and then Gleeson, Wingate, King, Barrel, Scott, Cowie, Smith, and unfortunately it looks as though it was the number 461 of Sid Marshall who didn't see the start of the race there. But there goes Nigel Franklin to round up the 21 strong field in the ACU Team Green Juniors and Seniors, and with the MZs heading towards us now already. And well, Alex Mann is across the line, and then there's a few seconds gap back already to Pete Woodall. So at the end of lap number 1, Alex Mann has a 2.6 second lead on an MZ around Snetterton 300.
He's not hanging around, is he? I think you've got to say now, because Andy Wales apparently expanded himself on an R6 at a track day. That's how he hurt himself. And yeah, it's a great shame, but a 58-point lead, that's going to go out this weekend. Now, it's still not going to be insurmountable because there'll still be a couple of 100 points on the board, but you have to say it's kind of looking definitely in favour of Alexander Mann at the moment, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, I mean, he's won 1 championship previously already in the MZs, hasn't he? So
he knows how to win one.
Looking to become a double MZ champion this season is your man who is leading the way at the moment, the red machine with the black leathers and the all-white crash helmet for number 69, Alexander Mann.
Gary Howlett's not on the grid either because he's recovering from a broken collarbone at Cadwell Park. There's been a few other injuries over the year and various holiday things and financial restraints. So I think a few people are getting that mid-season pinch thing going on, that's for sure, and don't blame them for that. It does gets very tough to do a complete race season. I think a lot of people do tend to forget, actually. Stringing together a whole season is not the easiest thing in the world.
No, it really does take over, well, life essentially, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Better than most.
Well, yeah, I'm aware. Well, you're also aware of it, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, but obviously when your dad was racing, it would have been a big part of your life, I should think, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
taking you out of school early on a Friday afternoon, I suppose.
Yeah, I remember one time he was, leaving and everybody in school lined up against the fence and waved us off. That was really nice.
Okay, over the line then, off we go. It is Cooper, Carr, Jones and Rooker. So Carr passed on Jones there, and he's now chasing after Cooper, 2:17.029, so he's about 0.3 of a second quicker than his rival, and he's got the toe up the front straight. Behind them, Bray is still he's quite impressive too. Ormrod, Rafferty, Baker, Garrett goes past on Stone, Carter, Wingate. Barrel makes up 2, Gleeson goes back 2, King goes down 1. Scott next across the line there. So lots of chopping and changing throughout the field, but most critically is that the lead has not changed at all. But I think young Mr. Arnie Carr has really got his eyes on the prize there. And clearly the kid is one for the future, I think. He's, let's see, 24 points behind Archie Ormrod in the championship. And of course, Henry McCartney's no longer racing with us, so he's going to be tumbling down the order as the season goes on, even though he's in a solid third place at the moment. I think Archie's overtaken him now, and I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this weekend he'll be down to 5th, and maybe even Isabel Wingate can catch him as well. Certainly Kian Boos's lack of presence here this weekend is not going to help his chances in the race. Of course, Darren Booster does have a very comfortable lead, there's no two ways about that, but he's got a 181 point gap coming into this round. In real terms, you've got to look at the gap between himself and Lewis Jones, because that's 223 points, and that's a big ask for Lewis, even though there's 300 points on the table, and I'm sure Lewis will do whatever he can to get all 300 of those points, but it won't take too many points by Darren Booser just to hold on to that championship. All right, where are we on the track then, mate? Who's doing what? The MZs have come past, of course, and that does see Alexander Mann open up the gap to 2 seconds. It's staying steady at that. No, sorry, it's not 2 seconds, because that's one of the back markers he's 2 seconds ahead of. He's actually got that up to about 4 seconds, 4.5 over Pete Woodall. Chris Rogers just heads Chris Kent across the line. Caleb Wright is right in the mix there. John Ashmead is also right on their tail as well. So good little mix of runners and riders there.
Yep, there's race leaders in the ACU Team Green Championship, as it is still Hudson Cooper from Lewis Jones, and Lewis looking for an inside, but I don't think he's close enough there, is he? No, he's just thinking about it, maybe just sizing up that option for later on in the race. But we are on to the penultimate lap already, so Jones only only 2/10 of a Cooper as we start this penultimate lap. Arnie Carr is now 0.4 of a second adrift from Lewis Jones, but of course the lightweight of Arnie Carr down the back straight and using the slipstream, we could well see him strung back in towards that fight for the race win. Travis Rucker 2.3 seconds away now, but his fastest lap of the race so far will see him line up potentially at the head of row number 2 for tomorrow's races. Further down the order, it's Ruben Bray ahead of Archie Ormrod, Harry Rafferty ahead of Baker, Garrett and Stone inside the top 10. The only mover on that lap is the number 90 machine of Barrel, finding a way through on the 125 of Izzy Wingate. So back with the MZs, and here comes Alexander Mann once again. It was a 4.5 second advantage, but this time around it's a little bit more.
I'm going to put it on about 6.5 seconds the way Alexander's riding at the moment.
£5.
What were you going to say?
8.0, whatever that said.
I don't think so. Good try, Junior. Hey, they're getting my money that easily.
Tell me about it. So there is Alexander Mann. He's just making his way out of Wilson's and in towards Palmer's now, as the race leaders in the Kawasaki's at least head down the back straight, tucked in tightly or as tight as they can, and purple in sector number 1 for Arnie Carr. So he's really using the slipstream to his advantage, and he's closed up to within 1/4 of a second now from the man in second place. That is number 30 of Lewis Jones. So as we look up towards Corrams once again for what will be the penultimate time, because the last lap flag is now being readied. Look at that three-way fight for the race lead. That's all closed up on this penultimate lap, and that is still Hudson Cooper leading the way from Lewis Jones, but Lewis is there, as is Arnie Carr, but no opportunity for an overtake as they go in towards Murray's. Round the left-hander, and Hudson taking a look over his left shoulder there, actually. Pitward goes out for the team NWR of Hudson Cooper, number 217. He leads and can't get much tighter to the pit wall than what he is, but Lewis Jones not quite close enough to capitalise on that slipstream and find a way through. He's going to have his work cut out.
He is. He's closed a little bit, though. I think he's closed by a bike length or two. Arnie Carr being dropped, but he doesn't need to worry. He's still going to finish second in class if he stays where he is, but obviously he's a youngster. I don't know how much of much thinking goes into racing motorbikes to a new youngster. And to be fair, he's not in real terms in the championship either. He is, of course, he missed the first few races of the season, so he's not in championship contention. He just wants to win what he can. And looks like he's managed to close up on Lewis Jones to be coming towards Palmer, the very tricky left-hander here, which comes onto the short chute up to Agostini's. You don't get a lot of time to prepare for this corner, as you discovered lunchtime today, didn't you, Bradley?
Yeah, certainly did in the course car there. It was a great experience, actually.
He'll give you a quick lap there, giving you an idea of what you're talking about there, and he does know his way around here rather well, doesn't he? Okay, Cooper leads, coming in of Agostini's, Jones, then Carr. No change at all between the three of them. It's going to be the suicide squeeze at the end of the Bentley Straight, surely. Through we go, the fast left-hander there, Ad Hamilton's probably flat out on one of these things, I should think. Up we go towards Oggie's here, and that's going to take some skill. Negotiate your pace off of there. You can see, I think Carr is lining up Jones there, mate. He's getting as close as he possibly can. He's got to try and get the power down, feed the power into the tyres of that little Kawasaki, squirt it along, see what he can do. Double pick up, of course, for the Chem, and I tell you what, Jones has come off the corner nicely. He's going to have a go at Cooper, I think, there, mate. Obviously, we can't really see brilliantly down the back there. Certainly, there's no back markers to worry about, which is obviously one of the things of very hard to tell who's doing what. They're still very close, though.
Hudson just about held on to it, I think, there. Yeah. I mean, look at the riding style. He's onto the three wide.
Whoa, up to the bomb hole. They're literally three abreast. That's going to be an exciting bit. Wish we had some live onboard footage of that. That was desperately close. Really, really exciting stuff. Can you tell which one of them has come out?
Looks like Arnie Carr is the man leading the way. It is. So Arnie Carr ahead of, that's Lewis Jones in second place, and then it is Hudson Cooper in third. So looks like Hudson Cooper just trying a little bit too much, trying to force the issue there, and ran onto the high side of the rumble strip, but he's there in third position now. But in the meantime, number 83, Arnie Carr, is going to come across the line to take the victory ahead of Lewis Jones and Hudson Cooper, second in class, third overall.
That was impressive stuff, that really was. And I'll tell you what, I've got to sort some prizes out here, and I think that's just decided one of the other prizes there for me, that's for sure, which is all good indeed.
Travis Rooker next up across the line, and just looking from our commentary box here, overlooking the grid up towards Riches. The sky's getting a little bit darker, so it's definitely coming this way, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think we're going to be feeling the full force of Mother Nature at some point in the not too distant future, I think is the phrase we need to use there, mate.
Well, Ruben Bray rounds out the top five. There goes Archie Ormrod ahead of, was that Rafferty? It was Harry Rafferty, sixth position in class, seventh overall ahead of Alfie Garrett, and then the 1-2-4 machine up next of Harley Baker. Harley Baker ahead of Izzy Wingate, who rounds out the overall top 10 ahead of the 185 of Carter, and that is Billy Carter, who is 10th in the juniors. Next up is Michael Stone, who takes second of the seniors ahead of Barrel King. The third of the seniors is the number 76 of Jamie King. And it's Chloe Gleason and George Cowie running out the overall top 16 as we get a few more riders coming across the line. There goes Patrick Clinge, actually. So Patrick there, fifth position in the seniors, just about got the better of Mark Smith on that final lap. Then the first of the MZs, and it's the number 69 of Alex Mann, who's already across the line now and is well on his way. In fact, he could well be this year's MZ champion. We've still got a few more races, of course, in this season. 2 rounds and 2 races tomorrow. As Alex Mann took victory, Keith, by 13.6 seconds.
That's a dominant performance. You know, we've seen 13 seconds literally cover the whole field, I think, in previous...
I mean, I'll tell you what, it's a... bit of a difference there, isn't it? So the race win in the MZ's 13.6 seconds, and the fight for the final podium position 7 1,000ths of a second.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, definitely a bit of a change there. Right, it's sort of a spot prize for that person for finishing in 24th. All good. And
so it looks like we've just got number 38 machine of Chris Patet, who's coming across the line now, and that will